Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. I am the Mouseketeer known as Stevie, and beside me is my co-host, the all-knowing crown jewel of Disney fandom, Cameron. We are just two fathers raised on the mouse, here to give you tips, tricks, news, and overall entertainment for all things Disney. So turn the volume up in your pumpkin carriage, or maybe you're using a magic mirror. Either way, we invite you to be our guest for an episode of Dadventures Around the Kingdom. What's up, everybody? We are back for another episode of Dadventures Around the Kingdom. Cam, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great, Stevie. Episode 2. Got good feedback from episode 1, so thanks for everybody that did listen to it and shared it with friends and family. Really appreciate it. Sharing it with the Disney nerd community. That was awesome. So excited to record episode 2 right now.
Yeah, guys, you have made it through security. You are now on Main Street. You're about to get
There we go.
Cam and Stevie. Let's do this. So, Cam, as we have talked about before, we're going to start things off with a lovely segment that we like to call Mouseketeer Moments, where we're going to talk about how we've brought in Disney into our lives this past week. So, Cam, what is your Mouseketeer moment?
Yeah, so I finally got around on Disney Plus. My wife and I finally got around to watching Win or Lose, which is the Disney Pixar show. It was like, I think, yeah, it has to have been like the first Disney Pixar show with like original content. I know they've done like Monsters at Work. They've had like different little, they had a Cars show. I remember that, but this was a whole new original property, Win or Lose. It's about like a middle school softball team. I don't know why I've been putting it off, but I have, and we like banged through the whole season. It's like 8 episodes in like 2 nights, which I know is like not crazy long, but for 2 parents with a 2-year-old, pretty impressive
Yeah.
to do that in 2 nights, after we get her down and all that stuff. It was fantastic. A lot of heart, a lot of emotion, very funny. The first episode itself captured us right off the bat, and it's really cool. So it's basically this middle school softball team that each episode follows a point of view of a different character, whether it's a player on the team or a sibling or a parent. Um, and all the stories intertwine. So by the time you get to like episode 5 and 6, you're seeing, oh, here's the storyline coming in for episode 2, and this one goes in here, and it all culminates to this big episode at the end for a championship softball game. And it was funny. Like I said, had a lot of heart, a lot of emotion.
Yeah.
Perfect Disney Pixar story. So I highly recommend, if you haven't watched it already, watch it. We took a while to watch it because, like I said, it came out last year and we hadn't watched till this point. Could not recommend more. It was really, really good. Definitely watch
Yeah.
it.
My wife and I, we watched it. I think it was like the second week that it came out, and we loved it.
Yeah.
First off, the little anxiety blob,
The little sweat blob. Love that little guy.
hilarious,
I'll buy
absolutely
5 Funko Pops of that
hilarious.
guy.
As somebody that loves a good story, I love the fact that everything, like, yeah, you watch everything, you get to see everything from everyone's perspective, and then at the end, when it all comes together, you're like, oh my god, this is prime storytelling. It's it's
100%.
it's amazing.
And right after we watched it, it's like, "Oh, what do you wanna watch next?" And there's actually, like, a 20-something minute documentary about the making of the show. We haven't watched it yet, but, like, that's
Yeah,
my
I haven't
next thing
watched
I
that
really
either.
wanna watch because 'cause I'm fascinated. I stink at drawing, but I'm fascinated by the animation process and the story process. Like, they had that documentary about the making of Frozen 2 that came out last year. Basically, all the Marvel shows and movies have, like, had a behind the scenes making of thing. Same with the Star
Okay.
Wars shows. So I'm very excited that Disney Pixar did one as well for Win or Lose, and definitely excited to see it, especially since I love the show so much.
Yeah, it was actually pretty cool.
Yeah. What about you? What was your Disney, Mouseketeer moment, I should say?
So other than sweating my Mickey ears off in this Florida heat that New England seems to be having out of nowhere,
Yeah.
um, my Mouseketeer moment, I've actually been catching up on a Disney Channel show that I started after my daughter was born, Big City Greens.
Oh,
Uh,
cool.
it's it is a very entertaining show. The best way that I could put it is a more family friendly, or better yet, kid friendly version of The Simpsons.
Mhm.
Very funny. It's this family that came from a very rural town on a farm, and they come into the city. They live with their grandmother now, and they're still keeping all of those farm tactics. And
Mhm.
it's really interesting to see how they do in the city and all the hijinks they get into. And it's very comical. Like I said, I started it. a little after my daughter was born, just because Bluey would come on and this was coming on in between. I was like, this is actually pretty interesting. So I started watching it. There was a new season that came out a couple of weeks ago, and I finally got a chance to catch up on it. But it has been awesome,
That's been
absolutely
a
awesome.
that's been a show I've been meaning to check out, and that's just because I used to listen, I should catch back up on it with a podcast called NADPOD, not another D&D podcast, that
Mm,
one of the guys is like I don't know if he's the he's one of the big animators for that show. So
okay.
he's always like plugging, at least he used to be. I've been listening to like old episodes back of this podcast, and he'll always plug, oh, a new episode of Big City Greens is coming on, and I animated this specific thing, whatever. So I've been meaning to check it out because I think he's hilarious, and I know him being funny on a podcast doesn't necessarily translate to his artistry, but still excited to eventually watch it and support him because I love his pod and his work on it. So definitely need to give that a watch soon.
Yeah, definitely. It's definitely worth it. Definitely worth it.
Yeah,
So, Cam, I think it's time that we give the people an update on some lovely, lovely Disney news. So, I believe you said that you have some great news segments with Cameron.
yeah.
Let's
Let's
get
hit
to
it.
it.
All of these, just for all intents and purposes, are all Walt Disney World related. There are some movie news and things like that. I'm actually gonna throw one in there. That's Starry CV. I didn't put this in there, but I'm gonna throw one in anyway. But I'll
No
throw that in
problem.
at the end. That's not parks related. But the first big thing is a new look at the new Cars area has that's coming to Frontierland has been revealed. So the area is now going to be known as Piston Point National Park. The artwork for the new area in Adventureland looks a lot different than what was revealed originally at the 2024 D23 event that was held last August. I don't think that's a bad thing at all. People
Okay.
seem to like it a lot. A big thing with this is a lot of people were upset that they were taking the Rivers of America away and the water away. And I mean, they're still taking that stuff away. They're taking away the boat and whatnot, but it looks like they're trying to keep a lot more of the water. So that's appeased some people because they want that
Mm,
park aspect in theme parks. The other thing
okay.
that's appeasing people is according to the Disney Parks blog, they have a quote that's saying, "From the outside, trees will provide a natural barrier between the off-road rally in the land and other parts of Frontierland and Liberty Square. Rugged mountains with dramatic peaks will be nestled along a calming waterway across from Grizzly Hall, and soaring geysers from the famed Big Thunder Mountain Railroad will stretch into the trails of our off-road rally." So that was something people were really concerned about because when you have like the whole theming aspect of Big Thunder Mountain Railroad and Tiana's and Country Bear Jamboree, having these
Yeah.
cars rip through the mountains in this road rally race with the car eyes that you know from the Pixar movie was going to be unsettling with them because they thought it was going to ruin the theme. Here's like, I don't really care about that theme. This is going to be sacrilege. I was pumped for them to fill this Rivers of America with cement because I love cars. I love that franchise. So the fact that we're getting some at Disney World, I was super excited about. Um, there hasn't been really any major news from this area in a while, so the fact that it came out on either Tuesday or Wednesday,
Yeah.
was really cool. The land looks awesome. I love the name Peak National Park. I think the national park merch they're gonna make off this is gonna make millions, and I will be the first one to buy hats, merch, every piece of Piston
I'm
Peak
not
National Park.
surprised you're gonna get your cars. You're gonna get your Piston Peak, the Ranger. I know you're gonna get a car for your
They're
desk.
definitely
You're
gonna
gonna get
have
a
a
hat.
car. I'm gonna get a
You're gonna
hat.
have everything. I know
Can you
it.
imagine, like, the little, like, trooper, like, National Guard hats, but it's Piston Peak with a car?
Oh,
I would look stupid in that, but you know they're gonna sell those things, and that's gonna be very funny.
I'm not gonna be surprised. I will say on cars, I liked Cars. The first one I was a fan of. The
You don't
second one,
please skip Cars 2. We don't have to it's okay. It's okay, we understand.
and the third one, the forced retirement.
Yes.
That was I skipped that one too. As far as I'm concerned, there was one Cars and it was amazing.
It was great. But to make way for this area, this will mean some closings, so I've kind of alluded to it. So, the Rivers of America, Tom Sawyer Island, and Liberty Square Riverboat will all be officially closing. We now have a date of July 7th, 2025. No
Okay.
timeline of when Piston Peak National Park will be done, and when the off-road rally ride will be coming in. I would guess Disney timeline-wise, 3, 4 years. I'm thinking 2028, 2029, probably.
Okay.
But it's surprising to me that they announced this closing of these areas and it's within the next month, even though they announced this back in August 2024. Um,
Yeah.
I I know this is really sacrilege. I know people are upset about it, and I respect everybody's opinions. I'm so excited for this to close to make way for cars. It's gonna be great. I think.
Yeah, I feel you. It's always great when something new comes to the parks.
Yeah. Now, here's something I'm a little upset going away, but I'm also excited for what's to come. But this is a salute to all shows, but mostly Muppet Visions 3D. My beloved Visions 3D is closing its doors on June 7th. So by the time we're recording this, it's still open a couple days. By the time you guys are hearing this, see you later. It's gone. The show's been performing at MGM Studios, now Disney's Hollywood Studios, since 1991. What's really special about it, it's the last project that Jim Henson worked on before he passed away. I'm a huge Muppets fan.
Ah,
This is a must do for me anytime I step into Walt Disney World, anytime I step into Disney's Hollywood Studios. I know it's not like it's a 3D show. It's nothing outstanding out of the box, but
yeah.
like to me, I've just always loved that. I've always loved the Muppets. I love the fact that the Muppets were in Disney parks. That whole area used to be really cool. They used to have the Muppet store that I used to love going into it as a kid. Um, what's nice is I'm a diehard Monsters Inc. fan, and that's what's coming in its place is that Monsters Inc. land. That's where that whole area with the Doors coaster is going to come. But sad
Ooh.
to see Muppet Vision 3D close very soon. Disney has mentioned they're going to find a way to preserve it some way. I think they're recording like one of the last shows with cast members in it, and maybe that'll
Oh,
be on
okay.
Disney Plus, which I don't know how the 3D will translate, but whatever. But it's at least nice they're gonna do something with it. But sad to see Muppet Vision 3D go. R.I.P. Sweet Prince.
Hate to break it to you, but I don't think I've ever. That's one show I don't think I've ever watched.
You didn't
Unfortunately,
go with me last May? You didn't go into that theater with me?
no,
It
no. We
Oh
snuck
man.
around and went to the was Mama Manja's?
Oh, Melrose,
Mama
the restaurant, which is
Melrose.
also
Yeah, we went
closed.
to the
That's been bummed.
restaurant. That was amazing. But yeah, I've never seen the Muppet Vision 3D,
You're
unfortunately.
you're gonna need to find a video on YouTube of the pre-show itself. The pre-show is like I've been to known to like just stand in the pre-show room and just for like 2 cycles just to watch it in full because it's so funny, dude. It's so, so good. So you have no idea. That reference I made where it's like, "This is a salute to all shows, but mostly Muppet Vision 3," that just went right over your head, huh?
Yep,
Oh,
right through,
it's okay, I'll explain it
right
to you when
through.
you're older. But staying out at Hollywood Studios, 2 new shows have opened up, both on May 27th. We have Disney Villains Unfairly Ever After, excuse me, which opened up on the spot of the former Lightning McQueen Racing Academy. This
Mhm.
features some live actors portraying Cruella de Vil, Captain Hook, and Maleficent. During the show, guests will be able to vote on which of the villains has been treated most unfairly. The second show that opened up was The Little Mermaid: A Musical Adventure, which replaced Voyage of the Little Mermaid. I'm so excited
Mm.
to see these shows in May. They're brand new shows. Um, I love Disney villains. I love that we're getting this little bit of Disney villains in the theme parks before we get the Disney Villains Land coming to Magic Kingdom. Who knows when? Um,
I'm all for
further
the
beyond,
villains.
oh, it's gonna be great. But I'm excited for this show. I've heard good reviews. I've been trying to stay as spoiler free as possible, just because like it's one thing if I'm gonna see it in a year from now. I usually will go watch those videos, but I'm literally seeing it in a month, so I'm trying my best to stay away from as many spoilers as possible because I can see it. As for the Little Mermaid musical adventure, excited for that. The fact that that building's been just not used at all since Voyage of the Little Mermaid closed with the COVID pandemic in 2020. I'm excited that they're finally using that building because it's just been a sitting space. The puppets look really great, and I've heard just awesome things about it. Again, I'm just trying to stay away from as many spoilers as possible. I know the story of the Little Mermaid, but like the special effects, I just want to see those for the first time live. So, really excited for those shows, especially the villains one.
All right, all right. Well, I think now it's time that we get into the nitty-gritty. So, Cam, if you wanna explain, I believe you had sent out a lovely survey to the fans?
Yeah, I did. So if you're watching this episode or listening to it, you know what our main conversation is about. So our main point of this episode is talking about the roller coaster rankings, specifically at Walt Disney World. So the way that we did this, there are 9 roller coasters at Walt Disney World. So I ranked my top 9, and Stevie ranked his top 9.
Yes.
For our number 1 coasters, those got 9 points. Our number 2 coasters got 8 points, and so on and so forth, all the way till our very bottom coaster got 1 point. Stevie, as you alluded to, we made a Google form. We sent it out to the fans, the listeners, and we had some good responses. I think we had like 19 responses, which is pretty good for a
Yeah, there
podcast
were
who literally, yeah, go
quite a
ahead.
few. No, there were quite a few people that answered, and I was actually surprised. Like, thank you all for answering us so quickly.
Yeah, and we did the same thing for them. So what I did was the most points a coaster could get in this rankings is 27 points. 9 points from
Okay.
me, 9 points from you, and 9 points from the fans. So I averaged out all the fans' scores. So that took a little bit, but I did it. and got their score. So I didn't take everybody's individual score into account, but like I said, one third of the vote is from me, one third from Stevie, one third from the fans, and that's how we got our top 9 here. So what I think we're gonna do is go last to first, if that works with you. And
Yeah.
what's nice is people also wrote why they liked the coaster that they put as number one. I should have asked why they didn't like the coaster they put last, but I didn't. Now we'll know for next time. But let's get through it. So
Yep.
number 9, the worst roller coaster according to us and the fans, was the Barnstormer, which is located in Storybook Circus, in Magic Kingdom theme park. This is the roller coaster that you're basically on a little plane. It goes through Goofy's barn. It's crazy, the Barnstormer, because Goofy's crazy, but it's a little kid roller coaster, which makes sense why it is number 9 on our list here.
I think I've only ridden this coaster once. I actually had to look up what this coaster was because I was like, I the Barnstormer sounds familiar. It's one of those things like I think I've seen it the sign somewhere, but I can't remember if I've ridden this. And then once I pulled up the picture, I was like, oh, okay, this is over near Dumbo.
Hmm.
I've ridden this before. So yeah, I've ridden this only once, but it wasn't it kind of gave me that traveling fair vibe.
A little bit, with a
Like it
little cute
wasn't.
theming with Goofy. Now, I will
Yeah.
say this is we're 30 something old guys, right?
Yeah.
It makes sense why this is our last one. The second I get my daughter on this roller coaster when she's tall enough and old enough to do it, it's still not gonna change my ranking. It's still gonna be 9, but it's gonna be
Okay.
a little extra special to be like, "Oh, Kylie got to do a roller coaster, like, that's so cool." So that's gonna be fun. I will say, one of my favorite Disney memories ever that I've had in a theme park comes from this ride, even though it's my number 9.
Mm.
Back in the day when it was Mickey's Toontown Fair and not, Storybook Circus, for some reason, Toontown would open up like an hour, hour and a half after the park. So if Magic Kingdom opened up at 9, Toontown would
Yep.
open up at like 10, 10:30. There'd be a rope with cast members there. And whoever was the first one there, some of the characters would come out and like greet the people as they're like doing the rope drop specifically for Toontown. And one of those characters was Goofy.
Ah.
Goofy would grab the
Oh,
hand of a
okay.
kid and walk that kid into the Barnstormer, and you would ride the Barnstormer with Goofy. I have a
That's
picture of
awesome.
me with Goofy. Again, I'm 30. I know there's a guy in a costume, whatever. But when I was like 8 and I still knew there was a guy in a costume, but it was cool to be like, I have a picture of me on Goofy's ride with
You got a
Goofy. I
picture
need to
with
find that
Goofy.
somewhere. And so that was pretty cool. So one of my favorite Disney memories is that because it was just that doesn't happen nowadays. You don't ride the rides with the characters. Um,
Agreed.
doesn't change my fact that this is the ninth best coaster at Disney World out of
Yeah,
9.
I mean, I never see them riding the rides as it is, so
Yeah,
that
that hasn't happened in
alone
years.
is amazing.
Yeah.
Absolutely amazing.
So for that one, I had it ninth. Stevie, you had it ninth. The fans had it ninth. It finished ninth.
Yes.
Let's go to our number eighth, or eight, I should say.
Yep.
This might be controversial. I don't think it is, especially with where the fans ranked it, where we ranked it. But the eighth best coaster is Seven Dwarfs Mine Train. You would not know this by the weight, but it's ranked eighth.
True.
I had it eighth. The fans had it eighth. Stevie, you had it sixth. The way the math worked out, it still finished eighth. Your thoughts on this, Stevie, on Seven Dwarfs Mine Train?
So, this is a ride that for me the ride itself as a coaster, it's nice. It's
Mhm.
not too crazy, it's not, like, throwing you all over the place,
Super
but
smooth.
yeah, super smooth, it's a nice ride. Where it builds up for me is while waiting in line, all the fun activities
Mhm.
that they have for kids to do. Because obviously, while you're waiting in line, you sometimes, especially for this ride sometimes has a relatively long wait.
Mhm.
But being able to play with the gems and the barrels and all that, as somebody who I got goldfish brain, so
You
having
need
something
something.
to having something to play with while waiting in line is awesome. That's what you want. So when you're there with kids, being able to keep them from wanting to run around in
Mhm.
line, this is perfect. So for me, that's why I like this ride. It's a nice ride.
It's not bad by any means, even though, like, I ranked it as the second worst, like, it's still a fun ride. Again, I recognize this is a step up from the Barnstormer, so it's a good family coaster, like, I'm excited to bring my daughter on this one day. I still
Yep.
probably ride this every trip. I do not waste money on a lightning lane for it. I think that's crazy to spend
Yeah.
money, and
No,
I
I
will not
wouldn't.
wait more than 30 minutes for this, which this ride almost never has a 30-minute wait. It's like one of those kind of things you either have to rope drop or do it during like the fireworks, which is typically when I'll go on it. I
Okay.
can't drop the money on a lightning lane for this specific coaster. It's beautifully themed. I love when you slow down and go through the mine shaft with the dwarfs, so it comes
Yeah.
like a dark ride in that aspect. Um, I do like the fact that the carts swing. You can, like, make them swing,
Yeah, that is
especially when
pretty
you're in that
cool.
thing. Cool,
Yeah.
but still, it's not enough to bring it up higher in my list personally.
Yeah, I feel that. So what is next on our list?
So jumping at 7th, this is our second coaster that across the board, everybody had the same thing. I had it 7th, Stevie had it 7th, the fans had it 7th, it finished in 7th. It's Slinky Dog Dash, another coaster with a huge, long, long, long wait time. It's a fine coaster. I thoroughly enjoy the coaster. It's not good enough for me to put higher, if that makes sense, and that's coming from a huge Toy Story guy.
So for me, um, the reason why I put this at 7 is because I was looking at the list and it wasn't going to be a top one on my list, unfortunately.
Mhm,
And it wasn't going to be at the bottom just because I was thinking about how I feel about the Barnstormer, how I felt about the Seven Dwarfs Mine Train, and so forth. Slinky Dog Dash, unfortunately, is one of those rides I've never gotten a chance to ride it.
oh, interesting.
The first time that I was at Disney World and it was open, um, my wife and we just didn't get to it.
Mhm,
We were because this was I think we got there 2 weeks after Cosmic Rewind opened.
mhm.
So we just trying to ride that as much as possible.
Yeah, for sure.
And then when we finally got there, I think we had one day where we were like, you know what? Maybe we can do this. And I think instead we ended up doing Rise of the Resistance because that was one that I really wanted to do and just hadn't gotten around to it.
Mhm.
And I just never got a chance to get on Slinky Dog Dash. And then the last time when we went with our families, it just kind of slipped through the cracks, and I kept thinking, this would be really cool to get on, and I just never got around to it.
Yeah.
But it looks cool. It looks like it would be a fun ride. But so for me, it was lower on the list just because I can't compare it. I never sat in the dog, and it is what it is.
It's fun. It's not a bad roller coaster by any means. It's just I think Disney has better ones. It's not a knock yourself off
Okay.
socks off coaster, but it is a good time there. I like that there's not like how do I say this? There's not like set pieces around you. So like it is kind
Okay.
of more visually exhilarating where like when you're going down a deep like hill or anything like that, there's just air around you. It's not like in we'll talk about this coaster way down the line, but Expedition Everest has like a lot of rock features, so you don't realize how high up you are sometimes. This, you know
True.
how high up you are, and it's not crazy, crazy high. But there's like one
Okay.
dive I'm thinking of that comes like right before you go past Rex and Jesse on the ride on your left hand side. And that's a fun little drop. It has a part where it does like a second launch in the ride. Super fun. Again, this is another more intense than Seven Dwarfs Mine Train. Still a good family coaster for those older kids. So again, pumped
Yep.
to bring Kylie on this. But this is a ride I would absolutely do without my daughter as well. And I have done it without my daughter. It's just I'm not waiting more than maybe 40 minutes for this one, if that. Just there are other rides at Hollywood Studios I'd rather do than this personally.
Yeah, it did have a long wait line, and I forget what the other ride was, um, that my wife and because I remember we were trying to figure out, all right, for our lightning lane, what do we wanna go with? And it was between Slinky Dog Dash and,
Was it
oh,
Mickey Minnie?
the Mickey
Yeah.
Minnie ride, and I was like, "We gotta do the Mickey Minnie ride."
You can get on any
Um,
coaster. And I know this is a Toy Story coaster, but Mickey Minnie is definitely different in a sense.
yeah, so Slinky Dog just hasn't made the cut yet, and
We'll get there.
eventually I'll get on there. Eventually
Yeah.
I'll get on the ride, so
All right, coming in sixth, this is where we had a lot of different opinions here. And we actually had two people
Ooh.
who put in the survey that this is their number one coaster. But coming at number six is Big Thunder Mountain Railroad. I had it at sixth. Stevie, you had it at eighth. The fans had it at fourth, and it came in sixth finally. Now, like I said, we did have two listeners who ranked it number one. So we have Angela J, who said it's a classic and is usually fun, a wide range of ages. And Jill
Mhm.
H said, it's a must do family ride for us. This is always our last ride of our Magic Kingdom day, so it's very nostalgic for me. And that's a huge part of these rankings, too, right? Is that nostalgia feature.
Yeah, that
Um,
nostalgia will get it.
yeah, so like sometimes some of these coasters maybe they're lower on the list, but maybe they're a better coaster. But for some people, you're going to put these rankings up higher because you're not thinking necessarily how good of a coaster is this, but how does this make me feel? That nostalgia piece that Jill
True.
mentions, that's huge, especially with Big Thunder Mountain. Like, this is an awesome coaster. I felt really, really, really guilty putting it sixth. I love this roller coaster. I love the theming of it. It's a long roller coaster, too. Like, I feel like you get bang for your buck with how much time you're waiting in line
Yep.
versus how long the ride is. You absolutely get huge bang for your buck here. It's just a fun, fun, fun coaster, and I love it. I felt bad putting it sixth, but there are just, in my opinion, I keep saying this, but there are some better coasters out there. But I
Yeah.
don't fault a single person for putting this number one. It's awesome. It's a great ride.
Yeah, like I said, the reason why it was 8 is because, unfortunately, when doing this list, this was a coaster that seemed somewhat forgettable for me.
Interesting.
It just seemed like it was that basic kind of coaster, nothing special that kinda poked out to me or anything like that. Again, another fun coaster, but when I was doing the list, like I said, Barnstormer, rid it once, okay. This one, Big Thunder Mountain, okay, it was a decent coaster. Slinky Dog, I've never ridden it, but the FOMO in me feels like it looks like it's more fun
Interesting.
than
Okay.
this one. So
This
that's
might be
that's how
one
I
that
went through my ranking.
this might be, I think everybody should have their opinions, and that should be fine. This is one I think the pitchforks might come out for you for having this at eight. But I respect it. I respect it. No, for me, I've always liked this ride. For me, I think the nostalgia piece is you always thought about like you're at Magic Kingdom, you have to do the three mountains. You have to do Space, you have to do
Yep.
Big Thunder, and RIP. You said you had to do Splash Mountain. You had to do the triple mountain whammies. What? Oh my God, what's her name? Stacy, who used to be. I don't know if you know who Stacy is. Stacy used to do a show called the Top Seven or whatever must do things at Walt Disney World, and she would call it
Okay.
the triple mountain whammy. Stacy, if I want Stacy on the
Interesting.
call, you don't know who Stacy is. Stacy's a queen. I love Stacy. Old school Disney Parks fans know who my girl Stacy is. But she used to call it the triple mountain whammy. So me, my siblings,
Okay.
my cousin would always say, "Gotta hit the gotta hit the whammy, gotta hit the whammy, gotta hit the whammy," and that
Gotta
included Big
hit the
Thunder. So
whammy.
that's where that nostalgia piece comes into play.
Okay. Yeah, maybe I'll give Big Thunder another chance.
Okay, we'll get you on there.
Yeah, eventually. I'll have to try and give it another chance.
So the next one we got on our list, so that was number six. So we're back up to number five is Tron Light Cycle Run. I had this at fourth. Stevie, you also had this at fourth. What brought it down was the fans had it sixth, and it finished with the final ranking at fifth. Again, two people did have this as their number one, so I want to give shout outs to them. So Danielle P said it was unreal, such a fun experience, and so cool to be in the motorcycle seats. Courtney B said it's a cool concept and different than what Disney typically does. I agree with all that. I really like this ride a lot.
Mhm.
We talked about it last year, Stevie, when we went in May, and I was like, that wasn't my first time riding, I don't think, but I was like, it's fine. It's a fine coaster. It is what it is. Um, then I rode it in March, and I was like, oh my God, no, this is an awesome coaster. And I think what the difference was for me when I was going on the ride for my very first time, I wasn't enjoying the moment. I was trying to like keep track of all the moments and see like, okay, what's the story telling me all this stuff? I'm not a Tron fan. I don't think I've ever watched a Tron
Hmm.
movie. Um,
Okay. That makes
so I was
sense.
trying to understand the story behind it, and that just made me puzzled, and I wasn't being in the moment, experiencing the ride. Then this past
Yep.
trip, I I don't care that it's Tron. Let me just sit on this cool motorbike, have this cool launch, go up this awesome hill with this great drop over a crowd of people, and my God, I had the most fun in a while. Zero chance for me this is gonna be number one though, because again, bang for your buck. This is like a minute long. It feels like it might be a minute 15. It is
Yeah.
so short, and I can't believe they
It
spent so long building this coaster that is 5 seconds long.
Yeah,
It needed to
that
stay
was
longer.
my gripe. That's my gripe with the ride. For the amount of time that you have to wait in line, and I think we had the whole G- Genie Plus shabam to get this ride because I had never ridden it before, and so getting on it. I mean, even though we were able to cut through most of the line, it was still relatively a bit of a wait, but you go through it so fast.
Yeah,
It shoots you out.
it's
It's
awesome.
again, it's really cool to fly above everybody. I agree with comments that I've seen that it's cooler to ride at night. Unfortunately, at the time when we both had uh, children that were months old, there's not a lot of time to night ride. So maybe
I,
next time I'll be able to partake in that.
yeah,
But and then I think the other thing that for me, for those that don't know, I am a relatively tall person. Those seats are uncomfortable.
but they're cool
Oh
though.
man,
It's a
they're
cool style that
cool.
you're riding it like a bike. It's really cool.
It's like you're riding a bike, but you have something pressing down on your back.
That can hurt. Yes.
And for me, that was kind of uncomfortable. So I felt like I was sandwiched in and then just being shot through the air, which again was a cool feeling, but it does get a little uncomfortable. And I understand, obviously, because of Tron. I've watched Tron, I've played Tron games. I understand why it is that way. It's just a seatbelt would have been maybe a little better. Something, I don't know, a harness. It
I
works
think
for
if you're
Passions
a
of
my
Flight.
height,
So
I think if you were my height, you wouldn't have that complaint. But I get the height thing.
probably.
I also get a lot of people. I used to be like way bigger, Pooh Bear size, as people like to nicely refer it. And this is a hard ride for people to get onto because you do have that back strength coming in, and there
Yes.
unfortunately are people that it's not Pooh Bear size friendly. Unfortunately, I'm very fortunate that I fit on it the very first time, and since I've lost a lot of weight, it's not a problem for me anymore to it. Um, and that's one thing that stinks about it, that it is not as family friendly. Take out the fact that kids can't go on it because the height thing, but
Yeah.
even a grown adult, they're gonna have issues on it. Whether you're too tall, you're a little too fluffy, so that stinks. One thing I do want to comment though, the last time I went was at night. And that was when I was like, wow, this was a great ride. And I didn't really consider that into my why I loved it so much, but that might have been it. So I turned 30 on this past trip I went on in March. And my
Yeah.
dad and match game closed at 12. As long as you're in line by 11:59, they can't kick you out. So we got in line at like
Ah.
11:30, and I turned 30 like maybe 3 minutes before I got on the ride. We were really trying to time it where I'd be on the bike and turn 30 years old because it would turn to midnight. Didn't work out like that, but that was like the first ride I did. So I'm like riding it at like 12:30 in the morning on my birthday with my dad, my wife, my daughter, and my mom were all at the hotel room. So it was cool to have like that father-son experience in a Disney park that we absolutely adore, absolutely love.
That's
So that
awesome.
might have added to it. Still not good enough to be my number one though. There is a clear cut number one that I basically gave away. We both gave away what our number ones were last week. If you listen to the episode, we both listed our favorite coasters as our number one ride at Disney. But anything else on Tron before we move on?
No, I don't think I got anything else. Let's move on to the next.
Cool. Number 4 on our list is Rock and Roller Coaster starring Aerosmith. I had this at fifth. Stevie, you had it at fifth. The fans had it third. Final ranking fourth. We had two people also rank this as the number one. So we had Ali M said it was one of the first coasters I ever went on, and I remember riding it for the first time and loving it ever since. It's such a nostalgic one for me. So again, that nostalgia piece for sure.
Yep.
Stephanie B, literally first word, nostalgia, inversions, music. That nostalgia piece again. The inversions are great. It's a great ride. I'm very happy this is getting an update. I'm glad it's not going away, but I'm
Yep.
glad it's getting an update because
It's
it's
getting the
so old.
Muppets, right?
It is.
Is
So it's
that
going to
correct?
get Dr. Teeth and the Electric Mayhem. So that's our little parlay of, yeah, we're losing Muppet Vision 3D, but
Ah,
we're keeping the Muppets in the park with this. I
nice.
do have a little gripe with that because I think the Muppets are family friendly. This is not a family friendly coaster, but I don't care. I love Dr. Teeth and the Electric Mayhem. I love the Muppets. I think
I
with
love
the
me some
Muppets,
animal.
I love Animal. You're gonna get Animal, Dr. Teeth, all the guys. Zoo. You're gonna get. What's cool about the Muppets is they are very like cameo focused. Like they have
Yep.
those stars. this is a perfect opportunity where you're getting rid of Aerosmith. You could either have a bunch of music stars, like in my head, I would love like Jelly Roll, Miley Cyrus, who's a Disney legend, like officially, like that's I'm not just saying she is, she has like a Disney legend statue.
Yeah.
Get some really cool artists. They can either be all accumulating in this ride, or you can do it cool where it's like, hey, one ride you're gonna see Miley Cyrus in the pre-show, and she's gonna be interacting with the Dr. Teeth and Electric Mayhem, and then you're gonna get Miley songs in the car. Next one, I'm using Jelly Roll because I like Jelly Roll. You're gonna get Jelly Roll. Next ride, you're gonna get this, and that'll be a cool way, kind of like Cosmic Rewind, where you're switching up the music, switching up the stars, and just refresh it a little bit. But regardless, it's the only coaster at Disney with inversions. It has 3 of them. They're incredible. That's great. Even with the Aerosmith music, it's a great ride. A
It
little
is.
short, like Tron, but very, very fun. I had this 5th again because I had a couple other coasters up higher for nostalgia purposes, but great, great ride. My heart still gets a little like in my throat right when it's going 3, 2, and I love that it launches you before you get to 1.
Oh yeah.
But that first 0 to 60 launch in those 2 point whatever seconds or 3 point seconds, whatever Disney marketing says it is, always gets my heart in my throat, but it's still super fun.
If those seats weren't a little higher, this is a whiplash machine.
100%.
It throws you through, and sometimes I think the first time I rode it, it went so fast. Like sometimes you can kind of feel where you're moving. I was like, I don't even know what direction I'm going. I'm just flying.
Mhm.
It was just pure speed, pure adrenaline. And I was like, this is actually really, really cool.
Mhm.
I do love this ride. I think the last time we were at Disney, unfortunately, it was closed.
Yeah, they
On the
were renovating it a little bit last May when we went in May 2024, so what we were not able
Yeah.
to ride it
So
together.
we weren't able to ride it, but this is I would say this is one of my favorites. I do like this ride. It's pretty cool, and I'm pumped uh for it to get a nice little facelift with some
Yeah, with the
Muppets.
Muppets. It'll be oh, my bike's falling now.
Yeah.
Jumping down to our 3rd best coaster. I had this 3rd, Stevie had a 3rd, the fans had a 5th. Final ranking with the way the points worked was 3rd, but it's Space Mountain. Uh, Funny how it came as 3rd place, especially because no one had this as their favorite. The fans, me, you, no one had it as their favorite
Yeah.
coaster. Whereas like we had Thunder Mountain who finished 6th, and we had 2 people that said it was their favorite. Um,
Yep.
it's my 3rd favorite. This is a huge nostalgia thing, but also
Definitely.
if you put this thing in the lights, I bet it's not that crazy of a coaster. But again, that darkness element where you don't know where you're going. Even I've ridden this so many times, I'm still confused. Am I turning left? Am I going right? Am I going up? Am I going down? That the feeling of the unknown is what makes this awesome. What stinks is my back hurts every time. And for some people, that's why they put this lower. I
I
like
agree.
that my back hurts. See, I like that my back hurts. I want a wild ride, and this is one for me too. Like I said, nostalgia like purpose. I love this ride. When you go at night on this ride, I know it's indoor, so that doesn't matter. But when there's like not a lot of people, whether it's fireworks show or extra magic hours, you can ride this ride a bunch. And that's something me, my sister, and my dad we used to do all the time. My mom's not a big roller coaster person, so it was perfect for me, my dad, and my sister to be 3 people to the cart. We would take
Yep.
all these funny pictures. It was my sister's favorite ride. After she had a stroke when she was 14, she was no longer allowed to ride it anymore because of her
Uh,
pacemaker. And then obviously she passed away. Like I mentioned in last week's episode, she wasn't able to ride it. So I always have to ride this ride for her in her memory and just think back of all those awesome moments I had with me, my dad, and my sister. And to this day, me and my dad love making funny faces. We'll have Patriot shirt on. We'll like flash the Patriots logo on the camera and all this fun stuff. So awesome ride. Just obsessed with it. It's a classic. Again, that triple mountain whammy where I used to hit Splash, Thunder, and Space Mountain. It was a big part of my childhood. So I love this ride for those reasons.
yeah, this is definitely a nostalgia ride. My first time coming to Walt Disney World, Space Mountain was the first ride that I ever went on.
Interesting. Okay.
It was awesome, because again, I've always been a little touch and go with heights, and this one hearing, "Oh, it's completely in the dark, you can't." So I was like, "Oh, I'm not gonna be able to see how high I am.
Mhm.
That's pretty cool." And so those strobe lights that are picking you up and everything like that, I was like, "Oh, this is awesome."
Mhm.
Going through the ride, and then it slowly helped me get over my fear of heights with some of these roller coasters.
Mhm.
But this was for a long time one of my absolute favorites.
I could absolutely see it being people's favorites because of all.
Absolute favorites. And then once I started getting a little older, started putting on the dad weight. I will say these seats are
You
uncomfortable.
gotta maneuver them. You just do it.
You gotta, yeah, you gotta just endure it for the ride, but it can be pretty uncomfortable.
Do
It
you have
kind
a
of squishes
spot you
you
like?
in.
So it goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 1 being the very front, 6 is the second car all the way to the back.
I've never been in the front. I have been most of the time. I'm usually in the 3 seat
Mhm.
or the 4 seat. I've never been in the direct front. I've never been all the way in the back. Um, but I always have a good time. It's just one of those I'm kind of holding my side after because I feel like I had to squish in. Again, I've got long arms,
Mhm.
so I get kind of scared sometimes because there's certain parts where you can kind of see little glimpses of lights, and I'm like, if I put my arms up, I might catch a beam.
Yeah, you
So
might go, like, absolutely just lose a hand.
So I'm like, I gotta stay compact and kind of white knuckle it in, and I feel like a grown man in a baby carriage, but it is a fun ride, and
Yeah.
yeah, the nostalgia is what keeps this one high for me. I'm always gonna love this ride. Um, I don't think anything's gonna change that for me. Um, but it is overall, yeah, an absolutely awesome ride.
Now, I will say, I obviously always want a ride to be operational. I low key love when this ride breaks down. I immediately run to the people mover because when it breaks down, they'll turn the lights on and you go through Space Mountain on the people mover.
Oh, I
I've
didn't
only
know
seen it
that.
twice, but there's been 2 times in my life that Space Mountain's been broken down and I would go through the people mover and they kept the lights were still on because they were still fixing whatever they had to fix. A lot of times they fix it quick enough and the lights go off. But I've been in there twice in the building on the people mover with the lights on, and you see the whole track. It's cool, just as again a Disney nerd to see this is what it looks like in the lights, and you can find those videos online, no problem at all. But
Yep.
it is cool to be like, this is it. It's so sick. But let's keep it
You
moving here, Stevie.
Yeah, I know, people, um I've never actually been on the people mover. I'm
You
one of
didn't.
those.
How did we not do this in May? How did? I mean, it makes sense. We had daughters that we had to go take down for naps, so we couldn't
I'm
stay at the
I'm
pool the
I'm a
whole time.
constantly moving kinda guy, so unfortunately, I don't get to move.
Fair.
I'm constantly moving. But, yeah, let's jump into the next one here.
All right, number 2, this was my second favorite coaster. This was your number 1, the fans' number 2, finish at number 2, but it's Expedition Everest: Legend of the Forbidden Mountain. This is a bunch of people's number 1. So we had Jennifer M said, "I really have a three-way tie with it as my number 3. I love the theming." Kevin C said, "We'll never forget the first time riding Expedition Everest. In addition to being nostalgic to me, I feel like it holds up really well. Love this ride." Allison H said, "It's different from other Disney coasters. I love the backwards part, and you get a great view of the park on your way up the mountain. I also love the theming of the queue." Katie W said, "I love Expedition Everest. First, I don't think uh, it's one that gets talked about a lot. 2, there are so many surprises on it from the first time you ride it. 3, it seems like a fairly longer ride when you're on it." Absolutely agree. Big, big, big bang for your buck on this ride for the length of time it is.
Yes, I love this ride.
Mhm.
This is by far my favorite ride. I know what everybody else's favorite ride is, but this is my go-to. And it
Mhm.
again, my heights, it took me the longest to get on this ride, but when I got on it, this was absolutely amazing. I love the view when you get to the top and
Mhm.
the tracks are broken, being able to see everything. The clickety clack when it starts going up the mountain and being able to see all of all of Animal Kingdom is absolutely beautiful. The ride is suspenseful, especially if you've never been on it. There's so much going on. It's such an awesome ride. This is my all-time favorite Disney World ride, and I don't think anything is ever going to change that for me. So when we get to number one, I will
That's fair.
explain. But Expedition Everest, number one, and no one can tell me otherwise.
except for the fans who voted too, and so did I. But I was kidding. The views are incredible. You can see Epcot, Hollywood Studios, the hot air balloon from Disney Springs, the whole Animal Kingdom park, like you said, Stevie. Now, here's one thing that I wish you got to experience, and I hope that everyone gets to experience this one day. Animal Kingdom does not stay open as late as it used to anymore, especially pre-COVID. There was
Yep.
one time I was on this ride, and we're doing like the hairpin turn at the end after you see the no, right as you go into the Eddie, the big drop. It
Yep.
was perfectly timed where Fantasmic and I don't know if it was Illumination still, I forget what show Epcot was at, but the fireworks were
Oh,
going at the same time, and we went
that's
down,
awesome.
and you saw fireworks on both sides, and it was me and my friends Angela and Colleen, and we
That's
were
so
like
cool.
I'm, like, trying to look back at Colleen and be like, "This is" yeah, you can't talk because it's going so fast, but, oh my god, it was magical, but this is an awesome ride, great theming, um, shout out to Mama Ramos. Mama Ramos, my mom went on this once, almost didn't get off of the ride. Thank God she's here with us today. But it's a fun freaking coaster. I love this ride. Don't blame us for anybody having this at number one. But
That's awesome.
the true
So
number
yep,
one,
let's get to our number one here.
I had us first. Stevie had this second. The fans had it first. The final ranking number one. It's Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind, the greatest theme park ride I've ever been on in my life. A lot of people had this number one. We had Marina L said Guardians is my favorite because it's fun, fast, great vibes all around, and the photos are so funny. Kayla V said the music, overall ride format. Anne Marie L said it's a great coaster. Jason B said Guardians is such a great ride from the soundtrack to the directionality. There we go. I can talk of the ride is great from beginning to end. Bridget G said I love the element of surprise with what song you're going to get. Also, just an overall good coaster. Katie M said, love the music, smooth ride, cool breeze slash wind, awesome overall. J said, because of the length of the ride and the music and the thrill. Chelsea K said, I love Guardians. This ride is so immersive and exciting. The music pumps me up, and the speed and turns are exhilarating, and the theming is so on point. This ride is always a must do when at Walt Disney World. Finally, Christelle G says, music pre ride. It's the best ride ever, Stevie. Like, again, respect your opinions, my friend. This ride's awesome. I got very lucky. So you said you went, I think you went opening week, didn't you? You just happened to be going to Disney World and
I
it
was
opened up that week.
there yeah, I think the following week. I just missed the t-shirts.
Yeah. So
Just missed the Cosmic Rewind t-shirts, but I remember I brought you back one of the rides so you can put it on your desk.
yep. And
Um,
that was thank God because I went 2 weeks before the ride opened because there was a DVC. It was either annual pass holder or DVC preview, which I had both, so it
yep.
didn't matter. But one of those. And I remember I texted your wife Katie, and I was like, Katie, you and Stevie are just gonna love this. It was so cool. The thing that sucked when I went, they didn't have the gift shop open, which is why I was like, Katie, here's a picture of this
Yep.
toy of the vehicle with Rocket and Groot. I'll Venmo you as soon as you bring me this back from Disney World when you bring it to work. So please, thank you. It's great. I actually keep a list of you can't see it, but the 6 songs of
Yep.
Guardians of the Galaxy, and every time I ride it, I'll write down the date because I'm a sicko of me getting that ride. So far, I've been on this ride 4 times in my life. I've only heard 3 songs. So I heard "Everyone Wants to Rule the World" once. That's the worst one I've heard. I had "I Ran" once, in one way or another. I had twice, including the very first time I wrote it, back on May 20th, 2022, according to my calendar here. That one's awesome. I'm still waiting for September. The day I get September is going to be maybe life changing. I don't know. Maybe the one of the greatest days ever, besides the important stuff. But
All
it's an
right,
awesome.
ladies and gentlemen. Well, let me break down why this was not my number one.
Have it, my friend.
Okay, maybe I was a little bit spoiled, but the first time that I got on this ride, first off, the pre-show with Terry Crews, hilarious. Absolutely
Great.
love it. Love Terry Crews and everything that he's ever been in. The build up to get to the ride, also awesome. All of the cool memorabilia on the walls, love all of that. You get to the ride. The first time that I got on this ride, I got September, and it was the best thing. Instantly, I said, "This is number one. Nothing is greater than this. This is absolutely number one." The second time I got on it, I got Conga. I was like, "This isn't bad. This is pretty cool." And then the last time that I went on it, Cam, when we went to Disney, I
That's what
got
we got.
Everybody
I
Wants to
ran.
Rule the World. No, no,
No.
no. I got Everybody Wants to Rule the World. There was another time we got
Oh,
Iran, but I got
you're right.
Everybody Wants to Rule the World.
We got both of those. I forgot. Yeah, I have that here. 5, 14,
And
24.
this is where my ranking comes into it. I believe the greatness of this ride comes with what song you get. If you get September, I will not argue with anybody. This is the number one ride of all time. That was the only song for the ride. Yes, this is number one. There's nothing else at Disney World that's beating this. Conga puts it in the top 3 for me. I would say it's a top 3 roller coaster because of the song. Everybody Wants to Rule the World.
Terrible.
To be completely honest, when that song plays, it drops down to, like, on this list, it would be 7 for me if I'm getting
Ooh,
Everybody
that's
Wants to
tough.
Rule the
That's
World.
tough, Stevie.
Because this is with Everybody Wants to Rule the World, I feel like essentially I am on Space Mountain with visuals.
And with like depressing music.
Yes, and it just doesn't the music is what does it one way or another. Conga, September, I love it. But you give me something slow and I'm just watching. I mean, this is a ride. Imagine if there was no music and you just had the visuals going.
Mhm.
I don't know if people would feel the same way about it. The music is what does it, and especially that's what does it for me. So, September, yes, number 1. Everybody Wants to Rule the World. You are sitting next to Barnstormer, my friend.
See, I have to disagree with you. I do agree that the music definitely affects it, but I can look past the music just for the backward launch is awesome. The being able to for the cars to like shift is so cool. Like that one scene, I know this is what gets people the most sick from what I've like heard on the internet and stuff. Is that
Yep.
one scene where you're going around? I think it's the moon. I don't know, not a moon, but the moon. That's one of the part that gets people sick. It's the coolest thing in the world when you're going sideways, and I just love it. I can look past that terrible choice of a song for this ride for everything else, and the fact that it's the only Marvel ride east of the Mississippi in a Disney park because it's the only one that's allowed because it's not Avengers related is huge for
Yeah.
me. Marvel is like as much as I love Disney, is as much as I love Marvel too, especially with the MCU and even before that, the comics, like I talked about last week. It is such a good ride. Um, I think when I go to Epcot this next trip when I'm by myself, I think I'm going to eat food around the world and just see how many times I can ride Guardians before I have to leave to the airport for my ride. Because we're doing breakfast with the travel agency I work with, and then I'm gonna go to Epcot, ride it a bunch of times, go get my suitcase, and head to the airport. Hopefully 5 or 6 rides. Hopefully I get September. Please pray to the good cosmic gods
I
above
hope
that I
you
can get
do.
that.
If you get September, then you will again, it will put another level to this ride. But
You're
if
my
you
first
don't get
call.
September,
You're my
if
first call.
you get Everybody Wants to Rule the World again, it's gonna be a sad ride home.
But then I just go back
Um,
on again. It just can't end on that. But that's my number one. It's the best theme park ride I've ever been on, in my opinion. Which in my top 3, 2 of those are Disney related. Maybe we'll talk about my number 2 ride ever one day,
the
which is not Disney related.
the music is what does it for me. The music is part of the atmosphere, is what makes the ride, and the inconsistency of the music is why it couldn't be number 1 for me.
I will say
Um,
my one
Everest
big
is
gripe
consistent every time.
Chris Pratt's acting is atrocious on this ride, just god awful, which is really depressing. But anyway, that's it, folks. That's our list. So overall rankings. So again, at number 9, we had the Barnstormer. Then at number 8, Seven Dwarfs Mine Train. 7, Slinky Dog Dash. 6, Big Thunder Mountain Railroad. 5, Tron Light Cycle Run. 4, Rock and Roller Coaster. 3, Space Mountain. 2, Expedition Everest Legend of the Forbidden Mountain. And number 1, the crown jewel of them all, Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind at Epcot. That's it. That's our list. We're hopefully going to do more of these kind of episodes in the future, just ranking different things. And
Definitely.
again, we'll have fan input. The fact that we got 19 people to fill out this survey before our first episode even dropped is really cool. So hopefully, the more people listen, we'll get more involvement in there too. But that's all I got. Thanks for everybody for listening. Stevie, I don't know if you have
Yeah.
anything else you want to plug.
Nope. Thanks for listening. Keep subscribing, keep liking, keep downloading. The
We
more you
share.
guys love it, the
We share.
more that we can do. So we love having you guys as a part of our talks, and hopefully we see you for the next episode.
Yeah, we'll see you guys next week. Thanks for listening. Thanks for listening to this week's episode of Dadventures Around the Kingdom. You can listen to the pod on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube. You can also find us on our Instagram at Dadventures Around the Kingdom. If you have any ideas for future episode topics you'd like to hear, be sure to DM us on Instagram or email us at datkpod@gmail.com. Again, that's datkpod@gmail.com. If you want to follow our host Stevie on Instagram, you can do that at Stevie Janko. And if you want to follow me on Instagram, you can also do that by following at Magical Vacays by Cam. That's my travel agency page. If you're interested in booking Walt Disney World or Disneyland vacation at no additional cost to you, feel free to DM me on there so we can definitely talk and I can get you a free, no obligation quote. Again, thanks for listening to Dadventures Around the Kingdom. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.